Well, Minister of State for Trade and Industry, Mr. Alvin Tan, and Director General, Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, Mr. Chu Dongyu, distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. It is my pleasure to welcome you to join us virtually at the Asia-Pacific Agri-Food Innovation Week. The world's population is projected to increase from over 7 billion today to 10 billion by the year 2050. It is not just that the number that grows, is also their nutrition needs as we continue tackling challenges caused by hunger and poverty. Now, to feed the population in 2050, we will need 40% more food supplies, 50% more energy, and 40% more water. Based on current yield levels and production methods, we won't make it. And that's right, we won't make it. We'll only be able to properly feed half the world's population. Producing more food comes with an even bigger environmental footprint. Food production currently accounts for over a quarter of our global greenhouse gas emissions. Our global food challenges is exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic. This black swan event has turned the spotlight on the vulnerability of our global food supplies and supply chains. Labor shortages at harvest time, broken supply chains, and border closures have resulted in food shortages in some places. This isn't a problem limited to emerging nations. To ensure that nutritious food is accessible to everyone, our portfolio company Gate Group used their idle airline catering infrastructure to provide over 2 million food boxes to underserved communities across 11 cities in the United States. That even in the United States, these issues arise highlights the importance of working together to improve food security and build resilience across supply chains. To do this, we probably need to begin by asking ourselves some tough questions. How do we produce more food with less resources and a smaller carbon footprint? How do we produce better, safer, healthier, and more affordable food for all? How do we make sure we have the right nutritional balance of foods? To address these needs, we need to reimagine our food system and innovate across whole food chain. Reinventing food production through high-tech farming can make food production less resource intensive and more sustainable. Technology can help us develop more sustainable, nutritious, and affordable protein through synthetic biology and industrial biotech. Closer to home, Asia is at the heart of our global food security challenge. By 2030, about half of the world's population will reside in Asia. And despite being well known as a food center, Asia is simply unable to produce enough to feed itself, relying extensively on imports. Further, COVID-19 has shown that in times of crisis, we need to strike a balance between relying on imports and self-production. For instance, in Singapore, while diversifying our sources of food is important, it needs to include a greater ability to produce our own food, even in a land-scarce country. We have Sustainability, a Singapore-based urban indoor farming company, optimizing local food production on this front. Who said farms need to be spread across hectares of land? They can be part of our built infrastructure as well. The pandemic has also highlighted the importance of using technology to accelerate change across food production, food supply chains. It helps you improve yields in primary production. Data and robotics help lift farm productivity. Using distributed ledger technology like blockchain introduces traceability of food throughout the supply chain. Consumers' demands are also driving the need to change food production. They're seeking more sustainable food produced, such as alternative proteins, fresh produce, and healthier ingredients. Our portfolio companies producing alternatives and plant-based proteins, such as Impossible Foods, Perfect Day, and V2 Food, will be able to contribute benefit from this trend. I mentioned earlier that trying to grow more food using our current methods is simply unsustainable. To this end, leading nations have pledged their commitment to do more. China has called for global efforts to launch a green revolution and pledged to achieve carbon neutrality by 2060. Europe has also linked the new Green Deal, which aims to transform Europe into the first carbon neutral continent by 2050. At a country level, Temasek have committed to do our part to address climate change. Temasek as an institution achieved carbon neutrality this year. We've also set ourselves an ambitious goal to halve the net carbon emission of our portfolio by 2030, on the way to achieving net zero emissions by 2050. These goals highlight the importance of collaboration in making progress, no less so in the food space. We're building a stronger agri-food ecosystem with minimal carbon footprint. It's a shared responsibility, but also requires collective action from producers, investors, supply chain participants, retailers, and of course, consumers. Sustainability is at the core of everything that we do at Temasek. One of our key trends driving our investment is sustainable living, which focuses on creating eco-consciousness solutions for our future generations. In the past 5 years, we have invested over $5 billion in the agri space. The 40+ agri-food companies in our portfolio may all be different, but they share an objective of building a more resilient food system. We continue to actively seek more opportunity to add to that portfolio. Beyond investing, our role as a convener and catalyst will help connect promising agri startups, established businesses, and others across our global network. This year, we continue our partnership with Rethink to help bring together the most innovative and talented agri-food community, quote unquote, under one roof. We're here together to convene, to collaborate, and to create. The pandemic revealed an urgent need for all sectors to come together and plan what a post-pandemic food system should look like. For this reason, I'm glad to welcome a diverse group of delegates here today who will help shape the future of food and its supply chains. If 2020 is a dark cloud, we need to look for a silver lining. In the case of food, there's a lesson for all of us to collaborate to improve sustainability and resilience as we shape what the future of food looks like. We all have a responsibility to feed a growing population and improve nutrition. We need to balance our finite resources to produce food more effectively and more efficiently. We have to also make production more sustainable, reduce wastage, and drive resilience in our supply chains. So the challenges ahead of us are considerable. It reinforces the importance of forums such as this, where we can share ideas on how we tackle these challenges together. After all, we share the responsibility to our people and our planet to get this right. In closing, I would like to extend my thanks to all our speakers, panelists, and industry partners, and all of you here today. Thank you for joining us. Let's work towards sowing the seeds for a better and more resilient food future here in Asia. Thank you.